week of Journey with Michael and Ryan. Having a good day today, and we're going to talk about anxiety.
That's what we're going to be talking about.
It's a prevalent topic, a big topic, man. And you're an anxiety coach, and you're just starting to put some other things out in the world. So that's what got me to have this theme drop into my mind.
Yeah, man. So we got a free 5-day anxiety coaching over on my Facebook group that I'm going to be running starting next week, and just guiding people through like a holistic approach to overcoming anxiety, to learn the different tools, techniques and strategies that I've been teaching clients for the last 5 years, ever since I became a naturopath, and just sort of guiding them through that journey of building more confidence in themselves, learning tools to overcome it, because it's a process. It's not like you just wake up one morning and you're over it. It can be a journey that sort of takes time and energy and healing and understanding, and progress and steps back, and like really challenging yourself to like put yourself into situations where in the past would have triggered you. So it's like it's a great opportunity for growth, to overcome a mental health dysfunction.
Yeah, anxiety was such a prominent part of my life for so long, and then like. You can only look in hindsight. Oh, this is me. Like I've looked in hindsight on like my 20s and when I was out, partying a lot and taking lots of drugs and drinking, and it was a fun lifestyle for that level where I was at. I really enjoyed it. But what I've reflected back on is that whole time it was like masking anxiety. It was a real external numbness, and you're just replacing feelings for like going out and adrenaline-filled nights and partying for a long time, and then you've got a big group of friends as well because everyone's doing the same thing, and so that's interesting to reflect on that. And then actually getting put on anti-anxiety medications and things like that before I moved back to New Zealand, and I was on them for about 2 or 3 years, and just then getting to the end of that medicine or that pharmaceutical journey going, oh man, my anxiety's still super strong, and I'm taking these things I don't think are helping, and made a decision. But the anxiety, this is what I want to bring it around, like the anxiety though, it's like it's driven me to go onto the journey of self-discovery, because it's like it's the biggest drive that's driven me, because it's like, I've got to do something about this. It just feels so icky in my body.
Yeah, super constricting.
Yeah. And then I think, just reflecting on that now, I think it's just been those points of like high anxiousness in other versions of myself over my healing journey, and it's being like, I've got to look at something that's creating this, and then it's just being like, all right, you've got to do it through whatever modality that works for you, and you've got to try some things, and totally. And know that it's a ever long journey as well. Totally. I don't think it's like, I used to say, oh man, I like healed my anxiety. I'm like, yeah, I've healed all main aspects of like old anxiety that I used to have, but now it's like the anxiety that's there, it's just learned repeated patterns, and it's anxious for like the future, because when you're taking risk and you're anxious, and it's exciting, and it's a different type of anxious now. Yeah, totally. It doesn't floor me. Yeah. It's just like, there it is. And it's like, and as you say, it's like if there's some anxious coming, it's like, oh, what parts am I avoiding? What am I not really looking at? And I'll go and have a look and be like, there it is. Yeah. Okay, I'll do something.
Totally. And I think my journey with anxiety very, very similar. Lots of social anxiety when I was younger and a kid, and bullied a lot when I was younger, so grew up with those like feelings of not being enough, and then that dragged through high school, same thing, using drugs, alcohol to numb and suppress those feelings so that I felt more confident in groups, but it's eventually that ability to cope in that way just stopped working.
Thin, eh?
Yeah, it wore thin, and I'd wake up on Saturdays and Sunday mornings, even Friday mornings, just more anxious than I had been before, because the alcohol just like brings all the emotion to the surface the next day. So yeah, for me it was a journey as well. And as you say, like, am I ever over it? Nah, totally. There's moments in time that I have where that aspect of social anxiety is still there, but I allow it to not control the choices I make. So it's like, I'll be going out, there's a new situation, maybe new people, and I like feel the questioning there, and like the want to be like, nah, let's just not do this. But I'm like, no, because based on so much evidence of the past, I'm going to go, it's not going to be awkward. There's not going to be a bad time. I'm not going to have a panic attack like I have in the past. I'm like over that. I'm like, the evidence is there. So it's like, based on that evidence, I'm just going to go out and navigate the situation as it comes out, instead of creating a story around what's it going to be. Because more often than not, it's not about the story we create. Mm-hmm. And for a lot of people that live with fear, it's like that inability to be in the flow of life, to just naturally trust the way in which the world is going to turn out, or the way in which a situation is going to turn out. It's like preemptive worry about all of the potential things that could go wrong.
Yeah. Do you think social anxiety and anxiety, you can put them into two different anxious pools?
Definitely. Yeah, totally. Because there's even high functioning anxiety.
Yeah.
I'm fucking riddled with high functioning anxiety, because it's like
too.
the mode that I live on. I'm motivated through not there's aspects of me that are motivated through that want to not be a failure.
Yeah.
So it just forces you ahead, gives you that inability to rest and slow down. And it's like most of the people that are living in this world would be living with some level or some scale of high functioning anxiety, because it's just such an overstimulated world that we live in, and there's that inability for people to stop and slow down and like allow themselves to have a day off and relax.
Do you know what I really find now? That so like I'm getting really a lot better at understanding my own like seasons, and I feel like it's going to be weird if you've never thought about your life in this concept, but it's like coming through to me pretty clear, and just overlooking, I'm starting to get some good years of evidence stacking up, and there's patterns now, and I'm like, oh yeah, like there are actual like energetic seasons I go through, and it's just really accepting those parts, but readying for them as well if they're a little bit lower season, or like when it starts to come up, it's like, okay, like make juice while the sun's shining, it's like really get it done. But what I find with like social media and just these echo chambers, it's like what I'm finding now is my thought process, you can see it kind of like being shifted and maneuvered if you spend too much time on these things, and I can feel like in my body where it's been like drained, and so I'm like, oh, there's an anxious to that, and it like anxiety fills the void of where that got pulled from, and so I'm like, oh, okay, now I've got to step back, and this is something I'm sitting with at the moment, just with like addictions and vices and all this sorts of stuff, and what I'm feeling is that same pull of wanting to move into a vice or something, or an addiction, or go get a dopamine hit, scrolling, smoking cannabis, even breath work, rape, tobacco, whatever it is the same feeling that anxiety is, but like on a bigger scale.
Yeah, totally.
And so I don't think I'm doing too well at like describing it. I'm just trying to feel it. But it's like
using those things to fill a void, because it can be uncomfortable to do nothing. Yeah. And like just nothing.
Yeah.
Like to be with nothing, and to be comfortable in the nothingness. And that's the big things why people run to vices, is because that's so fucking uncomfortable for so many people to sit with it. And like even with working with a lot of clients, it's like getting them to sit in meditation for some people will cause a panic attack, because they're literally sitting in nothing, sitting in quiet, just with their mind and just with their breath, and because they can be like hyper vigilant and hyper aware, it's like that becomes super uncomfortable. But it's exposure therapy. So you have to expose yourself to the nothingness. You have to expose yourself to the uncomfortableness, so that you can like build that threshold up. Now, if people like jump into it and then they sit for a few minutes and it causes a panic attack, and you're not just going to get them to do that every single day, but it's about building resilience in the body. Maybe it's your nervous system that isn't functioning properly. That's why you're so hyper aware and hyper vigilant. Maybe there's like low serotonin, dopamine, levels in the brain, or your receptors aren't functioning properly because long years of drug abuse, or because your digestive health is no good, or you could even be deficient in specific nutrients that are causing you to be like your body to be less resilient and more hyper aware of these situations. Or there's the trauma aspect of it as well. You know, maybe there's still unresolved trauma that it feels so fucking unsafe for you to have your eyes closed because something happened to you when you had your eyes closed before, you know. So then it's like that the fact that you're sitting in uncomfortableness isn't the root. It's about discovering what the root is from there, you know, and then using those sort of things as like a gauge to be like, okay, no, I can do this more as I'm like working through all these other different layers. And that's why I fucking enjoy. This is why I enjoy helping people with anxiety. And when people come to me with anxiety, because it's so multifaceted and it's so different for each person. And there's like these baseline physical aspects that you really have to look at first. And then you can like delve deeper into the trauma and the conditioning and the fear. Because your body is actually able, it's like a bigger container to be able to hold it.
Yeah, what's pulling, you know, and just helping people know where to look or even start to look, because it's, as I say, it's when you're trapped in something, it's just an echo chamber. You don't really know where to start and look, and that's why things can feel like you haven't taken the kettle off the stove in a while. It's like the whistle's going, you know, and it's just like there needs to be some release or escape or something
for sure
to happen.
And guaranteed anyone that's suffering with anxiety is looking at social media for answers.
Yes.
And then because they don't have the ability to follow through or show up for themselves or put themselves first because they have low self-worth, then they're just going to end up like beating themselves up more because they're watching all these other people get healthy or tell them that you should be doing this and that and the other thing and this is going to work for you and that's going to work for you. It just puts like more social pressure on them.
And just seeing only the good aspects that people are putting up.
Yeah,
it's just through one lens. You can't see the full lens, and that's what your brain interprets. So you're like, we live in a world of comparison now. You know, it's ingrained in us now. We're all comparing ourselves to others and things and successes, whatever success that is now conjured up in the culture. And then so whatever success means to you personally as well.
Totally.
And then
comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah,
you know, because it takes you away from the present moment. It can be a driver, but if it's over consumed or you use it as a negative motivation, then you know over time it's just going to deplete your energy because you're just judging yourself more for not, you know, being what other people are.
Yeah, anxiety,
It's a big one.
It is.
What do you think's the thing that causes the most anxiety in your life at the moment? Truth bombs.
What's causing the most anxiety? I think it's just when I deeply reflect on how many balls we've got up in the air and just that like juggling them all and playing this dance and this game and then just walking on a real thin string.
I get that.
That's the biggest anxiety right now.
Totally. And then like the things you plan don't quite work out as well as you thought they were, and it's like the thread of the string just like has a little ping on it, and you're like, fuck, is this gonna fall? Or am I still sweet? Like this can still hold my weight. I get it. It's
because then that's like the umbrella. Then there's feeders down from that. Then it moves into like,
bang, bang.
God, I'm not training enough, and I'm putting a bit of weight on, you know. But it's like I'm still getting there every day. But the output has to go into this thing that we're juggling and holding, and then it comes down to this point. Okay, hey, look, you know, you've got to eat a little better, you know, when you're on the road to make sure you get that. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
And then you come through and you're like, hey, look, you know, you got to keep spending time on your relationship. You got to build that, and you got to make sure that you're you know, empathetic and of all these other close people around you to ensure that, you know, that you're still building community. And it's like, okay, I'm moving to that. And it's like, but that is the overall umbrella right now. It's just think about how many balls are in the air. But then to kind of, when it gets too strong, wash it away. I'm just like, better fucking doesn't fucking matter. You know? Like, it's nothing matter. You're not going to die. It's going to be an experience. It's going to be lessons and learnings and whatever you start and whatever happens there. But it just kind of lessens it. I'm just like, oh yeah, okay, cool. It just kind of takes that strangle off. And you're like, okay, all right, let's just keep going.
That inability to not give a fuck so much.
Yeah.
Well, that ability to not give a fuck so much, but still care immensely. Immensely, but without having it, cause problems or have you wake up in cold sweats at night worrying about things.
Yeah, that. And then just the bigness, like we're at the moment, we're just calling so many big things in that are like above where we are right now, and we have to be like,
we got this.
Got this. Got to learn, and you're gonna have this fast trajectory above the levels that you're calling in, so you can manage it.
Yeah.
So that's it there, but it's a good anxiety, if that's even a something you could say.
Yeah.
But a bad one at the same time, because it's an anxiety, because it's like, okay, I'm playing in realms where it's feeling unmanageable, so you can start sending you down, and you just got to just keep more aware of other things and vices in your life, and you just play this juggling act as well, and it's all good. It's all good.
Same anxiety, and that's essentially like high functioning anxiety.
Yeah,
it's just like using all of these different things that we have to get done as motivation and drivers.
Yeah,
and there's like an inability to be able to stop, because you can't really stop. So it sort of can keep you stuck or trapped if you're in the wrong mindset around it.
Yeah.
And it really is just, as you say, it's like the way in which you view it. It's like the people that are able to function in that capacity are just able to not care. Like, and it's a really hard thing, because you have to care so much, but then not care at all at the same time. Because you're putting so much of yourself into something that is extremely meaningful, that's been fucking years and years and years of work that you can see is taking off, and you can like feel the groundswell, but you just have to like fully not care if it didn't happen.
Yeah. And not allow the fear of what's the worst that could happen to hold you up, going like, hey, look, we're starting to get more investment from, people, and when you're like, hey, look, there's bigger responsibilities here. And it's like, yeah, there's this unwavering faith that it's like, you just got to keep going and make it work, because now you've got like other people that are in there. But then you're also got to be like, not care about that thing, because that's the worst case scenario. You got to be driven positively for it. You'd be like, cool, they're investing in me because they see the purpose and the passion.
Yeah.
But then there's the other anxious aspect of it, the shadow aspect. Is like, well, what
if it fails?
What if it fucking fucks up? Like, do you really want to go? And it's like, it's just the duality dance.
Totally.
But yeah, it's meeting. I guess I'm starting to get better at meeting my anxiety. Is probably the best way to put it. Like meeting it, like feeling it, seeing it, meeting it. What do you need?
Yeah.
Fuck, do you need a day? Okay, do you need 2 days? Fuck, do you need a third day? Like, whatever it is. Okay. Like, it's just learning to be in it with it, not in a fight with it. And if it's showing me that I need to, my energy's low and I don't have capacity for things, I'm trying to take more things on, and I'm bombing out, and my rest isn't there, and it's like my body's like, no, you need to rest. It's like, okay.
Yeah. And when we ignore anxiety, it only gets louder.
Yep.
So it's like ignoring it when you feel it instead of dealing with it. And then, like, as you say, like, what is it that you need in this moment? That's like the question that I always speak to clients about. It's like, okay, when you feel it, what is it that you actually need? Do you need more rest? Do you need to go for a run? Like, do you need to be like nourishing yourself more? Do you need to take a day off? Do you need to connect with people? And then like honoring that aspect of it. But like, okay, what do I actually need? What does this feeling need? Because it can be like an annoying friend that's like nagging at you constantly.
Good way to put it.
Yeah. If you're not, they're like, hey, I'm here. Oi, like something's going on. Listen to me. And then so you're just asking that question, like, what do you need? And that's a powerful thing, because then you can be like, okay, what do I actually need? And then you can go through that whole process of learning to give yourself what you actually need, because most people in their life who have struggled with anxiety are people pleasers. So they've always put other people's first. They've always put other people's, they've always sacrificed themselves and their health for the good of others. They're like got a little bit of like a martyr complex, where they're willing to sacrifice themselves for the good of others. That's why so many women and mothers live with anxiety. It's one of the 40% of American adults at some point in their life identify as living with anxiety for more than a 6-month period. So it's one of the most prevalent mental health conditions there are.
Yep.
And that's because it's like one of those little nagging ones that can be full-blown panic attacks, can be that high functioning aspect, or can just be that little flutter in your heart every now and then, or daily.
Yeah, what a big teacher anxiety is.
He's a tricky little guy.
All right. Yeah, man. Well, how can people find you? Because what have you got coming up? What did you just put up? You got a 5-day...
Yeah, so I've got a 5 days of free anxiety coaching starting next week. So there's a free group chat that we're going to have every week. Every day I'm going to jump on and do a live from anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes, just talking about the different aspects of anxiety. So we'll be talking about gut health, the mind-body connection, central nervous system regulation. We'll be talking about trauma and sleep, the physical aspects, the psychosomatic aspects, and the psychological aspects. And each day just giving you guys a few different tools to add to your own toolbox, and then just having the group chat there, so that people can ask questions, can share their journey, and really get amongst it. And that's already started, and there's already a cool group of people that are already starting to share where they're from and what they're struggling, what they're hoping to get out of it. So it'll really be tailored based around what people are working through, what support people need. I haven't even built it out yet, so I'll do it on Saturday. Sweet. But I'm just letting people feed me what they need support in over these next couple of days, and then I'll put it together and essentially just run it and just give people some free support.
Beautiful. That's amazing. What an offering. So I'll have it in the show notes, man. Just have your social. Oh, your social's already on there.
Yeah, my social's on there, and then we'll put the Facebook group in there as well.
Facebook group will go on. So just go down, click on it. It's free. Beautiful, brother. Thank you for the sharing. It was a deep one.
Yeah, it was a deep one.
It was nice.
Appreciate
it's good to unpack anxiety. Actually, it feels good to unpack anxiety.
Yeah, it's a good one to talk about.
Yeah.
It doesn't like being ignored.
It doesn't like being ignored. That's it.
Doesn't like being ignored.
Yeah,
really.
Definitely feel a little lighter. Just talking about the aspect of anxiety and being well, what is it now? Because we can hold on to an old aspect of it when it was very rife. I'm oh, that's what it is. No, that was what it was then. Now it's different. And just unpacking it now. I'm going, actually, it's a lot more of a friend than it used to be. Totally. It's a driver now. Let me talk about you more.
Totally. And there shouldn't be no shame around feeling it, or the shame around even communicating that you feel it, because I suppose it can have a negative stigma around it. But it's as you say, man, 40% of the population feel it at some point.
And then even in talking about it,
it lessens it.
It lessens it, but it just gets you actually understanding it better.
Yeah.
What is it? What is anxiety for you? You know, it's not the same for everyone.
Totally. And it's you have anxiety because you actually give a fuck.
Yeah.
So it's that's why you have it. And it's not bad that you give a fuck. It's fucking fantastic that you give a fuck. Yeah. Otherwise, we wouldn't be where we are. If we didn't ultimately care about the impact that we're making on this world, and ultimately care about the high quality of products that we put out that, costs fucking us 3 times more than any other companies putting together, so we have to outlay so much more, and we're giving away all these free things to build this a community and make an impact. We're not just running Facebook ads and paying for reviews like some of the other companies do. It's we're actually building it from the ground up and creating products that actually work.
That's why it will be whole.
Totally.
And it shall be. Beautiful, brother. Thank you.
All right, beautiful people. So, jump down to the show notes, give it a click, jump into the group, and we'll see you guys all on Monday.
See you next week. Sure.